everything that had to happen, every single experience to get to this moment. Just wow.
Full Sail University. Are you ready?
These are the graduates who refuse to see the world in terms of limits. They know that a boundary is something to push beyond in the pursuit of greatness. For them, creativity is more than a calling. It's an involuntary action, like breathing. 8 years ago, we started a movement, a wave that rippled through our community, gathering force. This is you. This is all of us. This is Hall of Fame.
All right, Full Sail University, are you ready for a Hall of Fame 8? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our 2017 Hall of Fame inductees. 2004 film graduate. He is currently the Vice President of HBO's Media, Technology, and Production Operations Group and leads a West Coast-based team of technologists working on acclaimed shows like Silicon Valley, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and cultural phenomenon Game of Thrones, Stephen Barris. Our next inductee is currently in the studio with Pharrell Williams and regretfully cannot be with us this evening. He's a 1995 recording arts graduate. He is a Grammy-winning producer, mixer, and engineer. He has worked with some of the hottest artists of the past 2 decades, including Pharrell Williams, Justin Timberlake, Madonna, Gwen Stefani, Lenny Kravitz, Bruno Mars, Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Usher, just to name a few. Andrew Coleman. (2000) computer animation graduate. He works at Digital Domain Studios in Los Angeles, where he works as an animation lead on feature films like Star Wars, The Force Awakens, How to Train Your Dragon, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Jack Geckler. (2004) film graduate. He is an acclaimed film director, writer, and editor. He is currently working on Escape Plan 2 starring Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. He recently released Arsenal starring Nicolas Cage and previously directed Marauders starring Bruce Willis. Stephen C. Miller. (2005) game design graduate. He's an independent game developer with more than 20 titles to his credit. He's currently the co-founder and chief technical officer of Doghead Simulations and had previously served as senior VR developer with HTC Creative Labs, contributing to the cutting-edge virtual reality through his work on the HTC Vive. Albert Perez. (2005) show production graduate. His dynamic production work has been featured on tours with greats like Madonna, Roger Waters, Rihanna, Lady Antebellum, and Tom Petty. He's the founder and CEO of Lux Creative, a leading creative studio out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Martin Potozny. Please stand and remove your hats and welcome from NBC's Sing Off, performing our national anthem, Voice Play.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed
at the twilight's last gleaming,
whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Please welcome to the stage Full Sail University President Gary Jones.
What an afternoon! Woo-hoo! Gosh, what perfect weather for a Hall of Fame, yes? Amazing. Welcome to Hall of Fame 8, everybody. What a joy and a privilege to be together. This is awesome. Obviously, this is a ceremony, yes? But what else is Hall of Fame? Why don't we ponder that for just a second? This is the culmination of a week's worth of amazing things that started last Sunday. Let me tell you what's been going on the campus of Full Sail University. 268 education sessions featuring 177 guest speakers. Not only did our current inductees come early to give back to the student body, hi student body, of Full Sail, but tons of other graduates are here this week, also providing panel discussions, lectures, and spending time with our students, giving back of their knowledge from the industry. 40 live-streamed events. We reached 1 million people, Full Sail did, via Facebook videos. 1,000 students attended a career expo with over 40 employers that provided a networking event that delivered jobs upon jobs upon jobs. Full Sail reached 3 million unique people with 25 million overall impressions across all social media channels. And not to be outdone, Full Sail achieved a new world record for the most consecutive high fives in under 60 seconds. Yes, that is you. That is your university. And this, ladies and gentlemen, all kidding aside, is Hall of Fame. It's about the best of the best returning home, our graduates, our Hall of Famers, to do wonderful things for those students coming behind them here at Full Sail University. Humor me just for a second. Hall of Famers, the inductees, we met you moments ago. We saw you, we love you. Other Hall of Famers that returned to celebrate home, these new 6 individuals, would you please stand and remain standing? Other Hall of Famers that came back. Heroes, heroes all. Remain standing, please. Other Full Sail graduates that came home to participate this week, please stand. Other Full Sail graduates that came home to spend time and give back. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, things that are happening. Our own Jordan Young, last Sunday night, grabbed his Grammy Award for mixing the best dance single, Don't Let Me Down, by the Chainsmokers. Great job, DJ Swivel, nice. Right here with us. Nice. Well done. And you heard Stephen C. Miller, one of our inductees tonight. He left a production in process that he was directing, right, with Sly to make it here and be a part of this, and Arnold too, to make sure he was here for us tonight. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Congrats. And Joe Morelli this year took home another, yes, that's right, another 4 Tellys, which totals 25 Telly Awards that he's earned for all the good work he's been doing at Electronic Arts. Great job, Joe. Nice. 25 Tellys. And that's a sampling of your Hall of Famers. Tonight, I could go on, because I could spend the rest of the night telling you great things your Hall of Famers are and have done, but let's keep it moving. Tonight, we're streaming on the web. Millions of people, gazillions of people around the world will be watching our telecast. And some of you, I heard discussion when I came out and sat down, what do I do with this white wristband? Well, what you do with the white wristband is you put it on your wrist. We start there. And the reason that the good people that put this show together would like all of us to do this is that this is part of the show. So if you haven't already done it, please wear your wristband. And there are moments where you will see how you get to be a part of the show because of your wristband. Yeah. Now, oh. Now, I'm told, ladies and gentlemen, Jay Noble, who's been a thought leader and a pioneer in tonight's event and this whole week, Jay told me that when this turns, I believe it's blue, that means I'm running long and I have to stop and get off stage. The good news for you is that I'll be able to see yours and know there's something happening. The bad news for you is I'm colorblind. Nice, nice. And that's actually true. People, our first guest tonight is a man named Steve Leary. He's a good man. He happens to be the mayor of our own city, Winter Park, and does an amazing job of doing good for all of us in the leadership and decisions that are made at the city level, the highest level of our city's government. Would you please welcome Mayor Steve Leary?
Good evening, everyone. Now it's a party, huh? We get a little fire going? I asked Gary if there's a signal to let him know there's a fire above his head, but I don't think we worked that in. Many of you know I have 11-year-old triplets, and in 4 years of coaching my son's lacrosse team, I said I'll be there and I won't miss any of your practices, and I've been good at that. So I'm going to escape a little bit later to go and meet up with him and coach, but it's important for me to be here because I appreciate everything you all do for this community. Thank you. And when Gary calls or Kenny calls, I'm here. I love the hugs. I'll come for a hug. So thank you all very much for having me again this year. I really love being out here. It's my honor to, well, I will read this just straight. But today is Full Sail University Hall of Fame Day, February 16th, and I'm going to read a proclamation from the City of Winter Park. Whereas Full Sail University is a tremendous community partner, adding to the vibrant quality of life in Winter Park for over 35 years. And whereas Full Sail offers an education like no other institution via immersive teaching methods in both real-world production studios and classrooms, as well as an online learning environment. And whereas Full Sail is honoring its most distinguished graduates and 2016 Hall of Fame inductees, Andrew Coleman, Albert Perez, Jack Geckler, Martin Potozny, Stephen Barris, and Stephen C. Miller. Now, therefore, I, Steve Leary, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the City of Winter Park in the state of Florida, do hereby proclaim Thursday, February 16th, 2017, as Full Sail University Hall of Fame Day in the City of Winter Park, Florida, and urge all citizens to support the university and congratulate the 2016 Hall of Fame inductees. Congratulations, you all. You have a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Full Sail Recording Arts graduate, recording engineer, and 2012 Hall of Fame inductee, Marcella Areca.
Good evening, everybody. It is so exciting to be here with everybody and celebrating with all the new inductees. Because as of this evening, we will have a total of 48 Hall of Fame honorees, in which the majority have dedicated 2 decades into their careers. Now that's amazing. Now you guys, we all know that this is the farthest thing from a 9-to-5 job, but we wouldn't have it any other way. So without further ado, let's meet tonight's first inductee.
One of my very first jobs was in stagecraft, in theater. Anything that happens live in real time in front of hundreds of people, has to be right. I think that early career in theater really helped me kind of understand the kind of things that I want to do. What did I enjoy doing? I looked around a lot for a school that was more dedicated to craft. That's what excited me about Full Sail. It's a place where if you have the desire to craft something, to be excited about making things, that they will give you the tools to explore that. I didn't know anybody in Florida, I didn't really have anything to do in Florida, so I did a lot of stuff at school. Mike Cioni and Ian Verdevec, who are 2 very good friends, they got a little interview, a little article in Post magazine that I'd read while I was at Full Sail in my apartment. I decided, well, you know what, I'm gonna give this Mike Cioni a call. We talked for like 2 hours. But at the end of that, we kind of came away with this idea of, you know what, if we were to take all of this commodity off-the-shelf hardware, we could probably do this for people, and we could probably charge them some money. There was this entire community of independent filmmakers that sort of had nowhere to rest. A big post house was going to charge them way too much money, and they didn't have the resources or the skills to finish something for, Sundance or whatever on their own. We put together a place called Plaster City, Digital Post. As it turns out, it was wildly successful. We grew to the point where we're pretty much a post house, a boutique sort of level post house. Michael and I had been doing a lot of work for HBO at Plaster City. We knew everyone at HBO quite well. This show, Game of Thrones, came along that was going to shoot in Northern Ireland because the locations are absolutely amazing, but it was basically impossible to shoot film there. Budgetarily, logistically, it would just be impossible. HBO needed to figure out a way to maintain the visual language, the hallmark that is an HBO show, but transition that into the world of digital photography. They were looking for someone who knew a little bit about digital cameras, who knew a little bit about production, who knew a little bit about post, and the other guy wasn't available, so they called me. Yeah, no, I'm very lucky to work at HBO. Very lucky to be able to work on some of the most iconic television, like Game of Thrones, Westworld. I've worked on shows like The Newsroom, and I also currently work on Sesame Street, so I have a very diverse portfolio. I really think about the type of stuff that I'm making now. I think there's this inspiration that I derive from my little girl, from Cooper. Extremely excited to be working on Sesame Street, and I have a renewed interest in how do we make that show amazing? How do we make it consumable for a girl like Cooper who's 2? How do we engage with her with that content? And so it's interesting, in a time where I thought I knew what was really important in what I was making, it just sort of turns everything on its head, and you sort of start looking at things a little differently. Your priorities sort of change a little bit, and that informs your work as well. You know, it's kind of amazing.
Please welcome from Los Angeles, California, director and cinematographer Sonny Behar and Vice President of Innovation at Panavision, Michael Cioni.
What a pleasure to be here. What an exciting evening. And to start this off, I cannot think of a better person with which to share this with. I love that story, Steve. Thanks for telling that story and showing all these strangers pictures of us when we were much thinner, younger, ate a lot less healthy. Actually, we probably eat is just as healthy today as we did back then. No, this is an unbelievable character. And although you've all seen Steve's work, all of us have probably seen the work that Steve's on, which is significant. I want to share something that we can't really see. When Steve told that first story, he read an article that was published, and this is a message especially to the students and especially to the entrepreneurial students that I know are out there. This is a person who flew from Orlando all the way to Los Angeles to have this 2-hour meeting that was totally off the cuff because he believed in something. This is the passion that drives. When you talk about passion, how willing are you willing to risk true passion? Are you willing to even get on an airplane and fly 2,500 miles and then have a meeting that you might not even goes well and then come all the way back on the same day? That's the type of passion that is inside Steve. And when we had that meeting, which I remember very vividly, we found out that we were born only 4 days apart, and we had this insatiable desire to fight the status quo, which is really ironic because we wanted to take on the big companies and now we both work for them. So that's kind of ironic that kind of happens. But inside of this person is really an incredibly humble human being. And I'll tell you one last thing that's really specific for the students and the entrepreneurs out there about Steve's character. About 4 or 5 years into our group and building this Plaster City company, Steve came up to me one day and he sat, the couch was green. I remember he was sitting on the green couch in my office, and he says, I have some bad news. I got offered a job at Apple and I think I need to take it. And of course, I was devastated because we were brothers in this and we were building something so spectacular and special that even though we wrote the book on a lot of the technology that exists, we know we were doing it in secret. We were a skunkworks operation. And here I felt I was going to lose my brother in this process. And I said, Steve, what would it take to keep you here? And he said, I can't afford to live on what I have, and I would do anything to stay here. And I said, what would it take to stay here? And he gave me the number, and we made this happen. Now, the reason this is significant is because you got to understand that a person like Steve Barris, who represents all that is good in entrepreneurial development and the idea to inspire people, he basically says that money is not his purpose. Money should not be a purpose for everything. It should be a result. And Steve showed me that day by being able to take the plunge, continue the plunge of development without the financial compensation that we all want. Sometimes you gotta love something much more than money. Money is not a purpose, it's a result. And Steve did that, and I can't say how wonderful it was to be able to develop and grow something so wonderful and so great, which propelled our careers forward. Because even though we could never have been able to match a salary that Apple could deliver, his heart was in the entrepreneurial spirit. His heart was for building something new and special. And that makes him just one of the most important people in my life. And I think there's so many things that you've taught me. So it is my pleasure to thank Steve for inviting me to this wonderful event and being a part of your induction. Thank you so much, Steve.
Just to kind of tell you the kind of guy he is, it took two of us to deliver this message. Most of you know I see the reels. I was around a couple of days to see the posters. You know Steve is either an executive at HBO or someone who was involved in a rather obscure little show called Game of Thrones. But I'm here to tell you that even if he didn't work for HBO, and even if he did not work on Game of Thrones, he would still be working in a significant capacity somewhere on very important material. And I think the reason for that is very simple. And I don't say this truly about anybody. Stephen Barris is one of the most unique individuals I've ever met. Now, I know every parent thinks their kid is unique and their kid is special. I promise you I've had no say or doing in the creation of Stephen Barris. I speak purely, freely, and objectively. And I can say this, what makes Steve so unique is he has two gifts that are rarely found together. One is an innate ability to absorb technology, to truly understand it at its core, at a fundamental level, where he ingests it as an expert within minutes. But more confoundingly, he then has the ability to share that with pretty much anybody. I've seen him talk to studio executives, producers, directors, people who know nothing at all. Well, I already mentioned studio executives. But the thing is, he never talks down. He never condescends. What he does is share with so much passion and integrity and clarity what he sees and what he understands with everybody he meets. And I'll say this, in this day and age where we seem to be at war with intellectualism, where we seem to be bored of experts because what do experts know, right? It's so important for you guys in our field who have a true understanding to talk to people, not talk at people. Invite them to join in your energy and power. And I'll say, I'm hoping today that we don't celebrate Stephen's achievements, but we celebrate Stephen as a person, because that's what brought him there. Kindness, generosity, hard work, and an endless amount of patience. And I know that anybody here who's been in his classes these last couple days, you came out of that, I promise you, a better person. I don't care how bad a person you are, and you know who you are out there, you came out this much less bad because of Stephen Barris. So I'll just end up with this. I've had the privilege for the last few years of calling him a colleague. I've had the intense pleasure of calling him a close friend. And tonight, along with Michael, we have the honor of inducting into the Hall of Fame of Full Sail University the one, the only, the unclonable Stephen Barris. Make some noise, guys.
Leslie, who had zero seconds in the Who's Gonna Cry First pool? Who had zero? Had zero. Right on. Well done. Well done. Well, I wouldn't be here without
all the amazing people that helped me get here. So I want to start, and I have to start, by thanking those people. I want to thank my, oh jeez, it's not like it's 0 seconds. I want to thank my beautiful wife, my partner, my muse, my inspiration. I love you, Liza. I always will. I want to thank my little girl, Cooper, for reminding me that I am the luckiest person in the entire world. I want to thank my mother for inspiring my creativity and for encouraging me not to just do the things that I needed to do, but to doing the things I want to do. I want to thank my father for not just teaching me to be a good business person, but to be a good person. I want to thank my brother who can't be here tonight because he's following his own path in London, and I am so incredibly proud of him, I can't even tell you. I have no words, thank you, for Mike and Sonny. I can't express to you how much those two guys mean to me. Michael was there at the beginning of my career, and Sonny will likely be responsible for the end of my career. And I love you guys so, so much. I can't even tell you. My Full Sail family, and I really mean that. Gary Jones, you are the most inspiring, most energetic, most real, most genuine person I have ever met. To know Gary Jones is to have hugged Gary Jones. And that's real. That deserves blinking. That deserves a lot of blinking. You all know this. Every single person in this audience has likely been hugged by him. Dave Franco, you're my mentor and you're my friend. You drive this place forward, and there is no way I can thank you enough for that. But thank you for being there for me, and thank you for being there for so many other people. Sherry Tetloff, my spiritual guide, my patronus, and my connection to this place. I wouldn't be here without her, so thank you from me. That's incredibly important. There's so many people. I literally can't go through them all. Jay Noble, Rick Ramsey, Isis, Jamie, and everyone else here at Full Sail. The work that you do is so important, not just to me, but to everyone out there, not because of what I've done, but because what they will do. And I believe they will do amazing things, and I want to congratulate all of the other Hall of Fame inductees because of the amazing work that got you here, but also because we have a deep connection. We were all students here. And I want to talk to those students, and I have to tell you, I don't mind giving speeches. I don't mind talking to groups of people. But I have been so freaked out this whole week leading up to this moment. Not, again, because I mind talking to people, but because I have to sum up everything that this place means to me in like a 25 to 45 minute long speech. And that is really 6 minutes. 8 minutes? 8 minutes? Okay. But seriously, I was really struggling with it, and I sat with my wife Liza and we talked about it, and she gave me some amazing insight. And I have to tell you, that's why you need to surround yourself with people who are way smarter than you, because it will help you out of so many jams I can't even tell you. She told me, think about your path like building a treehouse. Now stay with me on this, because I actually think it's very inspired thinking. Because when you think about it, a journey to success is a lot like a treehouse. And that resonates with me because I consider myself someone who loves to make things, to build things, to create things, to learn how things work. That nowadays is called a maker. And the best makers know that you need the very best tools, and you need them on hand, and you need to know how to use them. Because the ultimate maker, the person who can make anything, and that doesn't just mean this industry, that means in general, they have those tools, they know how to use them, they have the ultimate toolbox. But where do you get those tools? This is that place. This is where you'll collect them.
This is where you'll learn to use them. This is where you'll hone them. This is where you build your ultimate toolbox, and I can't tell you how much that's meant to me. I wouldn't be here without that. Now, as you progress along your path to success, I'll use my tree analogy, like a tree grows, you'll have the tools that you need. You'll have built a strong base. But the funny thing about a tree house is it goes up piece by piece, not all at the same time, and you can't build it by yourself. You need people to help you. You need people who know things that you don't know. And that's incredibly important. And it's interesting because the people that helped me build my treehouse, and quite frankly, who wants to hang out in a treehouse all by themselves anyways, but the people who helped me build my treehouse, they still stop by all the time. And I really hope they always will, because they mean a tremendous amount to me. And some of those people I met here. Now, if I can, because I'm the father of an amazing daughter who's trying to go somewhere, I'm not sure, who already knows more Spanish than I do, I want to talk to all of the amazing young women in the audience today, because if you come to a tree house with a No Girls Allowed sign on it, I want you to take it in both hands and tear it off, because our industry needs you. Because we are the mirror on the society of this whole world. So no matter what gender you identify, what color your skin, your spirituality, or who you love, we need you. Because we have to prove to this world what it's really made of, now more than ever. So finally, I'm very lucky to be standing up here and accepting this, but there are thousands of Full Sail students out there working just as hard as I am, and I share this with them. I don't deserve it, but I humbly accept it. Thank you so, so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Recording Arts graduate, Latin Grammy winner, and 2013 Full Sail Hall of Fame inductee, Demo.
Wow, give it up for Steven, y'all. That was, whew, incredible. So great to be here with everybody. Sometimes creative careers have us locked in one location, producing around the clock. And other times, this has us traveling around the world, working alongside our clients. Each day brings itself a new set of challenges, and schedules often change at a moment's notice. And for that very reason, that unpredictability is the reason why our next inductee, regretfully, could not be here with us today. But fortunately for us, we captured these moments with him ahead of time.
One song can just change everything for me, like one melody or one hook, or working with an artist that inspires me. It takes just a moment to rekindle my fire, you know. I was a media communication major at East Stroudsburg University in the Poconos, and one of the requirements was to do an observation report at a recording studio, and the first time I walked into the studio, I was just like, wow, this is it. This is, you know, it was like a lightning bolt hit me. It was a calling. I knew a friend who was at Full Sail, and he suggested to expand from a smaller studio in the Poconos to maybe learning on some larger format consoles and Eves, SSLs. I did nothing but work, study, and sleep, because I wanted to be the top of my class. I was here for a purpose, and I wanted to come down here and just do the best job I possibly could. I sent out some resumes on the East Coast, got a couple of hits. I didn't want to be cleaning toilets because I already had a couple album credits already before I even went to Full Sail. I did put some thought into where I was going to go, and I knew what scene was going on in Virginia Beach at the time. So I knew that there was possibility of doing some good work there. Teddy Riley was in town. He opened a studio up in Virginia Beach. Pharrell had written Teddy's verse for Rump Shaker. At the same time, Chad and Pharrell, the Neptunes, were coming up. Chad and Pharrell booked a session one day at the studio I was at. The way they cut their drums up and the way Chad would just do his thing, and I knew it was special, unlike anything that was on the radio then, and I wanted to hang around to keep it going. We hit it off, and that was 21 years ago. We got to work with Lenny Kravitz recently, and I'm a big fan of his. Snoop Dogg and Justin Timberlake, Madonna, Christina Aguilera, Zach Brown, and those kind of guys are just so inspiring because they're so talented. It's always cool to hear something you did, that drum sound or that guitar sound or that vocal. You're capturing that sound. That's only gonna ever happen once. And if you capture that right sound, 20 years later, you hear it on the radio, you remember exactly where you were when you recorded that, when you made that record or worked with that artist, it brings you back. I just have to step outside of the box, and realize how cool it really is and how much fun it is and how rewarding it can be. Just want to keep making music and try to change the world through music somehow and make people happy, and smile, and say that's hot. This is a dream come true, really. It really is.
I gotta tell you, Drew's been a big inspiration for me throughout my career. When I first met Drew, it was in 2003, and I was so excited because Pharrell was such a big influence on me. And seeing Drew walk in the room, and I was a little bit nervous because I was young, straight out of school. And there goes Drew, and Drew was like, "Yo, Demo, what's up, man? Yo, let me show you something." He sat me down, and he showed me what he was working on, what he was doing for Pharrell, and I'll tell you, it was touching. Because, to have somebody that was already doing it, that was doing it for so long, to take the time to sit there and see me, who was young, just hungry to get out there, and take the time to be like, "Yo, this is what it is. Check this out. This is what I'm doing. Check out this technique." It really inspired me. And Drew's done that countless times over the years for other Hall of Famers and other mentees and other Full Sail grads coming out. And it isn't the long line of his credits that really define who he is, but how much he's contributed to other people and allowed them and helped them in their careers and shaping them forward. So, what can I say, man? He's a true inspiration. Even right now, he's committed to his mastery and his excellence. And I celebrate him. And I'm honored to be here right now to accept this award on his behalf. So to Andrew Coleman, thank you.
Please welcome back to the stage, Full Sail University President, Gary Jones.
That wasn't a speech. That was a sermon. How about that, Stephen Barris? Wasn't that awesome? And Andrew Coleman, bless your heart, wonderful man, out there doing the good work that you're doing tonight. We miss you here, but we understand. Let's see, hashtag Full Sail Hall of Fame. When you're doing social media tonight, make sure you use that, right? Is it on screens, Casey? That's what I said, hashtag Full Sail HOF. Pay attention, people. We're not going to do this 3 times. Hashtag Full Sail HOF. Okay then, good. So make sure you, let's do the first one, Ty. Make it fast, these people are grouchy. Okay, we're doing a selfie, you're in the background, light up your little wrist things. Nice. Nice. Thank you very much. Awesome, guys. This year we decided to do something different by introducing the Industry Icon Award. From this Hall of Fame 8 forward, this will be a part of every ceremony in the future. And let me read you the charter. It's only one paragraph, but let me read you the charter of what this is about. Full Sail University's Industry Icon Award recognizes those individuals who have dedicated their lives to being innovators in entertainment, media, and the arts. These industry icons serve to inspire countless others along the way, with a commitment to sharing their success for the benefit of those who wish to follow in the footsteps of the icons. This award recognizes those who have truly given a wealth of heart and dedication to the faculty, the staff, and the students, and the graduates of Full Sail University. To honor our first Icon Award choice, our honoree, please welcome to the stage Recording Arts graduate, Grammy winner, and 2010 Hall of Fame inductee Leslie Brathwaite, and, hold it, and Recording Arts graduate, Indian Recording Arts Academy Award winner, and 2015 Hall of Fame inductee Ashish Manchanda. Now give it up. Woo!
I have been extremely fortunate and extremely humbled to be able to do what I love, mix records. I've been blessed to have worked with some of the greatest talent on earth, and none of that would have been possible without 4 words and the person who spoke them. When I was a kid, very first album I purchased was The Wiz. The very first time I ever heard of Michael Jackson, very first time I've ever read the name Bruce Swedien. And it inspired me to pursue a career and want to be a mix engineer. Fast forward some years later, in 1995, I had the privilege of being flown out to Los Angeles to work on the History album. I was working with producer Dallas Austin, and I was extremely nervous when I met Michael, but I was terrified when I met Mr. Bruce Swedien. I stood in the back of the room. Yeah. I stood in the back of the room, and he looked over, and he spoke 4 words to me that changed my life. And they didn't only change my life for what it meant to me, but in the way I give to others. And he said, "Sit, mix with me." And those 4 words meant everything to me, but they were the cornerstone of the person who I am today, where for me it's all about giving back. And the fact that he took his time to teach me practically everything he knows, because I asked him a whole lot of questions. It's more so about embodying the spirit of teaching others and giving back to others. And for that, I am forever grateful to Mr. Bruce Swedien.
Whenever I try to speak about Bruce, something else happens. So I'm going to give another concept a shot today. It's a concept, Leslie. It's a concept. So less is more, and here it goes. How it's been with the Swediens is a journey that continues to be. full of love, life, and inspiration. Like you said, there are no secrets. It's only on love, life, and good. On that you bet. It's about sharing, caring, and growth. Taking care of family, friends, and work both. Can't thank you enough for the lessons that I've learned so much. You made sure they never felt tough. Bruce, B, and Roberta, to whom I'm grateful in eternity, you are now just another part of me. Love you, Bruce, and madly.
Let's take a moment to get to know a little bit about Bruce Sweeney.
I have to give my mom and dad credit to Ellsworth and Louise Swedin. They were incredible. My mom and dad had hoped I would be a classical pianist, but my tastes run along the 8 to the bar boogie woogie. I love boogie woogie. I was really fortunate in that I got to work in Minneapolis in my own studio. I still remember the address, 2541 Nicollet Avenue South in Minneapolis. And it was an old movie theater. It had been the Garrick movie theater, and we made it into a recording studio and recorded Benny Goodman there. And a lot of lesser known, but of course that's where I met Quincy. Time disappears when you're working with Quincy. A lot of times I wouldn't get home till 10 in the morning, the next morning, up all night. And it didn't matter. His theory is music is the only true magic in life. The only true magic in life. I remember one time with Ellington's band where there was a trombone solo in the second verse. And I thought to myself, gee, I don't want an ordinary sound. So I told the trombone player, when it comes time for your solo, get up and tippy-toe over in the corner of the room and play the trombone into the corner, away from all the microphones. Everybody went nuts. The sound was spectacular. Your judgment has to be natural, or just how it affects you emotionally. I have to say, B helps. She has wonderful judgment. Why she picked me, I'll never know. She's got wonderful ears, among other things. And the recordings that I've made with Michael or Duke Ellington or Count Basie, she's heard all of them before anyone else. And all I have to do is watch her face. And that'll tell me the whole deal. Probably the most famous piece of music that I've done is Michael's Thriller. I think that changed my life, changed B's life, changed everybody's life that was involved in those sessions. You know what you do? Turn the lights out in your control room and listen to the music alone, not too loud. And if it moves you to tears, it's okay. And don't go by any technical values. There's only one thing that we have in music recording. I want everybody to get this once and for all, and that is music first. You know, so many people, when they get a little money and achieve a certain amount of success, they kind of give up. And Quincy never retired. He said, we're never going to retire, ever. We retired the first day we got in the business. That's retirement, you know? I mix music, I record music, the best that I possibly can.
On Tuesday night, we had a reception, and Bruce and Bea were there, and their daughter Roberta, and they were given the award that night. Let's see some clips, some outtakes from that.
Everybody listening? I love Full Sail. And also, I love making music. I believe in the human experience. And Full Sail is incredible. I love Full Sail.
Well, he wouldn't be the man he is.
Let's give some love back. On the count of one, let's all join in, I love Bruce. 3, 2, 1. I love Bruce. Love you too, brother. Thank you for everything you've done for Full Sail University for decades, Bruce. We adore you and Bea.
Now, let's send it down to the heart of the action and our Hall of Fame sports reporter, ESPN Sports Center anchor, Kevin Negandhi.
Thank you. Bruce, I'm with you. I agree. I love Full Sail. And I've had the chance to be a part of a couple of Hall of Fames in my life. You guys know how to throw a production together. This is awesome. We're going to add a little twist here. A little twist. So bring the sports guy down from Bristol, Connecticut, where it's snowing, so I can see some sun. And let's have a sporting event out here, because I'm in a sea of all the Hall of Fame inductees and honorees. And it's time to put their skills to a challenge. So let me introduce a loud round of applause, 2011 Hall of Fame inductee and first round draft pick for the Full Sail flag football team, Cully Bunker. Next, I have the 2015 Hall of Fame inductee and All-Pro backyard beatdown quarterback, Frank Schurig. All right, now, you guys are right here, and I want this audience to be fully aware they're playing to win, but they're playing for some students. Let me introduce the legend, Dave Franco.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, guys. So, Cully is going to play for a student from the Recording Arts program. Please welcome Lawrence. Frank will be playing for a student also from the Recording Arts program. Please welcome Ishana.
All right, before we get into this, Frank was kind of talking trash before the show started. What are we going to expect from your arm here?
Well, I'm definitely going to have no problem beating Cully. So I can't remember my student's name, but you're winning.
You got a response? You're going down. All right, the goal is, guys, 20 seconds. We're going to have a clock. The top part of the 8, as many footballs as you can get in. And I imagine it's going to be right here by the buckets. All right, do we got a clock? We ready to go? We ready? 20 seconds. I'm going to let you go in 3, 2, 1, go. Let's just get one. Oh! Cully's got 2.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow. The winner, Cully Barker.
Cully, well done, by the way. Not only did you get 2 in, you hit the other guy right there. Really good job. By the way, though, we're not done here, though, right? We get the winner. They get something.
Well, Kevin, what have you won and what have you won? Lawrence, you're the winner. You have won an HTC Vive and a VR computer. But you're right, Kevin. Wait. You're right. That wouldn't be too fair. Because we're here at Full Sail and we love everyone, Kevin convinced us to give you, because he likes you so much, Ishana, a drone!
That's cool. That's really cool. Well done.
And of course, all students will follow the FAA rules, right, and regulations.
Congratulations to our winners, guys. Good sports. Well done. Woo! That's all from here. Let's go back to the stage. Our next presenter, Full Sail Digital Arts and Design graduate, creative director at Make Amazing, and 2013 Hall of Fame inductee, Kim Albert.
This is so good looking out there, Full Sail. Oh man, don't blink those things. I'll start taking selfies and stuff, and then I'll be up here forever. You know, the most rewarding thing about coming back here is the chance to inspire all these students. They're incredible. And every year we come back here and we just talk about how much they inspire us. So speaking of inspiration, I want to introduce you guys to our next Hall of Fame inductee.
Originally, I enjoyed movies and I enjoyed the medium and I enjoyed everything about that, but it was kind of like a kind of dream, but it wasn't like something that I thought was ever a reality. Like people I think who did this stuff were on some other kind of plane of existence, and you had to live in California, and it's just, as a kid, I think it was just outside my scope. I started performing at Disney in the mid-90s. As a character performer, and that kind of opened the door to some other kinds of roles within the parks, and one of which was puppeteering. And at the same time while I was doing that, I was starting to really get into computers, and I had a roommate at the time who was really into computers, and we painted one of the walls in our rental with chroma key paint. I don't ever recommend people to do, so that we could basically take our puppets, put them up, and then comp in the background scenes of like Indiana Jones Boulder, or they're in space, or they're, anywhere we wanted them to be was kind of the idea behind it. And I lived in Orlando. So hearing about Full Sail was kind of all the time, but at the time it was mostly, for me, it was an audio thing. Somebody wrote, hey, they're doing this computer animation program. So me and my roommate at the time said, hey, let's just go down and get a tour and see what it's like, and hilarity ensued. The hustle in general has got me at least 50% of the way there. I mean, hopefully I like to think the rest was talent. The hustle has certainly kept me employed, and I think it's allowed me to work on stuff that I never would have been able to work on if I had just made a choice to be like, I'm just gonna stay here, and I think this is where I need to stay. I got a call from a game studio in Woodland Hills called Genuine Games. They were working on Fight Club, the video game for Xbox, the original Xbox, and PS2. And then I worked on the 50-cent game Bulletproof, his first one. Yeah, didn't think I'd ever be on a rapper video game. But I was about halfway into that when the opportunity came up to go over to Asylum for Sky High. It was too surreal for me to even think about working on film, not to go. I've worked on Sky High, which was awesome. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, we had got around the same time, so I worked on that. Apocalypto, Deja Vu with Denzel Washington. DreamWorks, I worked on How to Train Your Dragon, 1 and 2, Kung Fu Panda 2, Turbo. Here at Digital Domain, the first time I was here, I worked on Mummy 3, the G.I. Joe movie. Then I had an amazing opportunity to go to ILM and work on Episode 7, Force Awakens, which was awesome. There was a shot I did that was only supposed to be in the trailer. We call it the Apocalypse Now shot, and the sun's setting and all these TIE fighters are flying in, and there was no real place for it in the film up front. So here I am watching the movie, even the first time, and boom, they snuck it in, and it was like full screen and everything else. And I remember sitting at one of the first screenings with just a regular audience, and that shot came across. Everybody in the audience was like, oh, the sigh. And the goosebumps just went up my arms. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, and it just struck me. I'm like, this is why I love doing this. Like, two, and I even looked at it, I'm like, that looks way cooler when it's that big. Take a step back and go, I'm actually doing this. Like, I'm working on this movie that all these people are so amped to see every time it comes out. Like, that, it never leaves me. There's something about that to me that's like, it's almost like it's permanent, right? To me, I'm like, I feel like there's all these other mediums, but like something with film is permanent. You know, it's there. Once you've done it, it's there. And if you've done your job right and you're doing a really good job, like it's there on a wow level too, and you can hear it in the audience.
To present Jack Geckler, please welcome Full Sail Recording Arts graduate, production manager for the Lux Productions in Sonoma, California, Billy Nettles.
Wow, it is amazing to be back here. You guys look wonderful. This place has grown so much. I've been gone since 2003, and I gotta say, walking around this week was just a wonderful experience. You know, Zachley's was a coffee cart when I was here. Full Sail Live behind here was a garage building with a classroom in the back. So things have changed. You guys have done so much, not only for the entertainment industry, but for the community around you. It blows me away what you guys do. It's humbling to be here, and from those early years, speaking of that, knowing Jack, you know, I've known Jack for 20 years, plus 20 years. We went to Full Sail together, we worked together, we became teachers at Full Sail together, so some of the people in the Hall of Fame, some of the people inducting other members were students of Jack's. I can't believe all the great family that I met here. It was definitely a homecoming to see all this. Let's see, we were roommates. We moved to California at the same time. We went to opposite ends of the state. He went down to LA and set up this burgeoning career. It was amazing. I was invited to be in his wedding, and he was in mine. I'm the godfather of his beautiful daughter, Dylan. Sorry, guys, it's going to take me a minute to get through this. You hear the term brother around this place especially a lot. And in the truest sense of the word, I do call Jack my brother. There's no other way to describe him. He's the family I choose, and that's the best kind of family you can have. I've watched him grow. He was a guy who just liked to kind of draw and play games and do stuff on the computer. Into artist of renown. You know, he came here, he learned this impossibly deep program called Maya, and then now he's studying, you know, government facial recognition software just to further video games for your future. Kind of cool. By the way, Jack, what is a NERB? I have no idea what that is. Anyway, to sum that up, he does it all. He's done mocap, he's got animation, previs. And if you didn't know, Jack's one of the best crowd artists in the world. So, you know, he's a rare breed. After we left our Florida home for California, Jack worked harder than I have ever seen him work on anything in his life. He took everything he could get his hands on. As the reel showed behind me, he did video games like 50 Cent, WWE Raw versus SmackDown. He did commercials for Gatorade, Nintendo. His movie credits are ridiculous. When I made this list, it was just nuts. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, The Mummy 2, National Treasure. He did some indie budget, like small time stuff like Star Wars, Force Awakens, I don't know. Anyway, he just wrapped a film called Power Rangers. Some of you may, sounds like they like that one, Jack. Jack's very passionate about his work, but even more so, he's passionate about life. And this is the part that kills. His children display all of that. Jack's got wonderful children. After Star Wars wrapped, he came back to Orlando, and he went to work for EA, and was flying back to California twice a month just to be with the kids. And that's dedication, that's passion. He had to weigh that a lot. He was looking at all his alternatives before that happened. That weight got to be a little heavy, so Jack went home. Luckily for us, luckily for Jack, Digital Domain was looking for somebody just like him, and they hired him. So he gave up a staff position, which in this industry is gold, and he was able to make that sacrifice and come out gold. So congratulations to you, man. To those of you students who want to get into this industry, who want to be visualization artists, animators, look at Jack's reel. That's how you stay relevant, and that's how you're going to keep working in this industry. His reel alone should be taught at Full Sail. I've not seen anything like it ever. It's amazing. He's always here to talk to you students. He comes back constantly. He's here for the summer sessions. He's on the advisory board. He wants to be there for you, to talk to you, to help build you up and bring you up, just like he was brought up. Jack, watching you this week, the care and the love that you take with your students to talk to them about their demo reel, to showing them what it's like to be their first day in a new studio, it's amazing to see. So he values all of you, you future animators, compositors. He wants to bring you up. Jack will always come here and give back to the people that brought all of us up. So thank you, Jack. Without further inflation of your head, it's my pleasure to induct you into the 2017 Hall of Fame.
Was there a 0.5? Seriously. Oh, I had thoughts, and then I look at my little daughter there, cried. She's killing me. I was trying to last night put together a speech, last night, last second, because everybody's like, you got to put a speech together. You got to write stuff down. You got to get bullet points. And anybody who's been here over the years that I come back and talk, never one of those has been a speech from anything other than from here. Because that's just me. I don't honestly, I don't know any different. Maybe I'm not smart enough to do it, but it's just who I am. And I thought today, I'm like, that's where I got to come from. Don't get me wrong, I had an amazing tree analogy I was going to use, but Barris took that one right up front. And I'm like, well, maybe I can go with a boat or a schooner, but. I first want to thank Full Sail for giving me all the opportunities they've given me to come back to this place, for Gary and team for having me back all the time to share all the things I've gone through, everything I've done, all the ups, even the downs. I think people who know me know I don't hold back. I tell it kind of how it is, because I think that's important to you guys. And I truly thank you for that. But I need to thank the other people in my life who've got me here. And there's a tremendous amount of them. Ones in particular who have kept that creative drive and that soul and that heart that keep me wanting to go on to the next bigger, better thing are these three beautiful creatures who are in my life. My two daughters and son, Dylan, Brooklyn, and Phoenix, you guys. Just when I think, I'm like, man, this job, I don't know if I could do this anymore. I come home, and the first thing they want to put in is Daddy's movie. Oh, and you guys can't even imagine what it's like to hear your kids say, put in Daddy's movie. So Daddy gets back in the car, drives 2 hours, and I keep making them. To somebody who has maintained a best friend to me, who's a mother of them, and still one of my best friends, and we might not be together, but she's been amazing through this journey, is Suzanne Geckler. And you talk about, Barris talks about this, he talks about, making sure you surround yourself with people smarter than you. She's an entertainment attorney, and I could not have picked anybody better to keep as a friend. Every contract, every resume, everything I have ever done has gone through that person, and that in itself is a thank you. Thank you, Susie. To my mom, to my moms, to my mom Jody, who, when we were kids and parents were showing their kids all the things that were PC and politically correct, my mother would let me go through Blockbuster and pick whatever I wanted. And we would compare our VHS tapes. And I'd end up looking at what she had and be like, oh, Mom, you got way cooler stuff. Well, let's just go with yours. And she's like, okay, yeah. This is a mother who kept in the house Blade Runner, Clash of the Titans, Labyrinth. Movies that just, as a kid, inspired me in ways you can't imagine. And I was part of that I just didn't think it was a reality to do this, to be here, to be doing what I'm doing. And Mom, I thank you for that. I love you. I love you. To my mom, Bridget, who's been with me 30 plus years and was there through every little pitfall of my life, ups and downs and everything else. Was there to help with the math homework that I just hated. And was the one who supported me after I made a choice after trying what I like to call normal college to come here. And I think she realized that what I was doing at that school wasn't going to be for me, and gave me that thumbs up to follow this. And thank you for that, Mom. And to my truest best friend. My dad is one of the most practical men I know. Grounded, old school, from Ohio, fish, hunt, was a police officer. I mean, you all get the idea of probably what that was like. And being an artist around a man like that, probably in your head could think it would be challenging. But there wasn't a second alive he didn't support me. And And every week he would call me while I was here, every week. And they were living in Melbourne on the East Coast, and he'd call me, how you doing? You going? You in school? You doing good? You alive? Every week. And I'm sure you guys all out there all have this, right? Or I hope you have this. And then I graduated. That is the sweetest looking kid ever. You guys catch that cat? That's awesome. Sorry, Dad, that helped me out a bit, actually. Thank you. Cute cat. You got any more animals, send them. When I graduated, I was able to do one of the things I think my mother, Jody, blessed me with, was the ability to talk my way into an internship here at the school and to convince them that I wanted to spend more time here to hone my craft. And they gave me that opportunity. And then just at the end of that, they gave me an opportunity to stick around to be a lab instructor for you guys. And that was an amazing time in my life. Those 2 years I was here at Full Sail was incredible. And at a certain point, though, I realized, and every time I had you guys in class, I needed to be following that dream too. I hadn't lived what I had set out to do. And when a friend reached out, a guy named Danny Gonzalez, who's in the industry, he's amazing. He reached out and said, "Hey, I'm moving to LA. I have an apartment. You're willing to come out whenever." And I know we've all heard that. "Hey, do come out," but they don't really want you to come out. I kind of looked at him and I said, "You mean it?" And then I think it hit him. He's like, "Oh man, Jack might come out." The back of my head said, I know I need to call my dad. I need to call him because I know he's going to tell me, keep the job at Full Sail. It's steady. It's secure. You got family there. You got family here. Don't do it. And that's kind of where I was at. I'm like, I kind of need him to say that or life's about to get insane. And I called. And he said the exact opposite. And he said, "When are we packing up your car?" And I didn't know what to do. And that simple act of a man I never thought in my wildest dreams would say that kind of changed everything. It became past the motivation to not only get a job I wanted and get in this industry, it came with the challenge of having to prove to him I can do this. And for God, Dad, what, 10 plus years, you would call me still weekly. He switched it to weekly, guys. Are you okay? You got a job? And I remember a point, in our careers, especially in visual effects, where it was a job to job. I was taking anything I can get, and it was 6 months to 6 month project. And he would call me towards the end, how you doing? You got a job. And I think now to parents when they get into this, he was probably scared out of his mind every second that I was gonna move home again. Don't get me wrong, I wish I could come back home, Dad. But I remember there was a turning point, probably 5 or 6 years in, where I kind of asked him, I said, Dad, what do you, I gotta be honest, Dad, you haven't asked me once, am I still employed? Am I doing okay? And he just took this long pause and he's like, you got this. You don't need my calls anymore. And now it's me calling him weekly going, you okay? Things all right? Not to stay up here all night, so I'm going to round it off with my last family, which is the crew here and my Hall of Fame brothers and sisters. I've had the pleasure to come back 2 years prior and get to experience this. I got to see one of my mentors, Tim Naylor, get inducted. I got to see couple of my old students, Jeff Unai, Nate Howe, who are out here. These guys who got out there and inspired me to be like, why am I still sitting at this desk, man? Jeff and Nate are killing it. Tim's out there killing it. Why am I here? And then I get here and I start meeting everybody else. I meet Leslie. And God, if you have not met Leslie, meet Leslie. Leslie is that guy who meets your family, comes out and says, I love your family. To Joey, who before I ended even working with Joe ADDY was already family to me. Cully, who's in LA all the time. When we making the big move, buddy. To everybody. To Charity, who all she did last night was talk about how it's gonna come down. She's out there, Charity, where are you at? Where's the hand at? There she is, yeah. You guys are so inspirational to me. And the fact you students have this moment, and you have these moments with these people, I can't tell you how much you need to embrace that. Because when I was here, this wasn't here. And if I even had an ounce of the time some of you get with these people here, I try to steal it now. I've been trying to steal time with Stephen Miller all week. And honest to God, talking to Barris the other night about Sesame Street. Now, clearly, as a puppeteer, he pulls out a video of his daughter, now with girls, he pulls out a video with his daughter, with Elmo and Zoe doing it, and I just get crushed watching that. Those are moments, guys, that happen here that I can't get anywhere else, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you guys for this, seriously.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, multi-Grammy-winning singer-songwriter, dancer, actress, and television personality, a member of one of the best-selling female groups of all time, TLC, Chili.
Hello, everybody. Hey, girl. Well, first of all, I want to congratulate the inductees again. Let's give another applause for those guys. So much talent here. Oh my God, it's amazing. I'm so happy to be a part of this. I love you too, and I love Full Sail. Yes. Music is a universal language that truly has the power to bring the world together. Tonight, that power is being delivered by someone who has been showing the dance floors of Las Vegas exactly what it means to feel the music. From the #1 nightclub in North America, Jeff Retro, I'm talking about you, of Hakkasan Group, holds residencies at Hakkasan Nightclub, Omnia Nightclub, and Wet Republic Ultra Pool. Please give it up, Hall of Fame 8 for DJ Jeff Retro.
You can run the mile, you can walk straight through hell with a smile. You could be the hero, you could get the gold. Breaking all the records they thought never could be broke. Yeah, do it for your people, do it for your pride. Are you ever gonna know if you never even try? Do it for your country, do it for your name.
Steve, check. Stephen Barris, I asked Cooper if she would come and help me with the next section. I hope you don't mind. What an adorable kid, huh? Wow. Jeff, this man owns Las Vegas. I had the privilege of seeing him perform out there at Hakkasan. It's like one of those clubs that everybody waits in line and hopes and prays they can get in, and the guy runs the joint. It's amazing. If you ever go out there, you got to look him up. Thank you for being here. Awesome job, Jeff. There and here. You know, every company hopes and wishes that they have leadership. I'm winded. I need to work out more. Every company hopes and wishes they have leadership that understands the mission, that believes in the mission, and even more than that, establishes and sets forth the mission of the organization. In this case, it's called Full Sail University. And when you tour this campus, you understand that our board of directors, the co-chairmen, the co-CEOs, John Phelps, Ed Haddock, Bill Hevner, get, establish, lead, and put forth to all of us, over 2,000 people that come to play here every day and call it a job, even though it's not. It is hard work. But these three men lead the company with a passion and a commitment to quality and to building instead of maintaining, to growing instead of backing off. They're just in it to make sure that this place is a world-class organization where students come first. So, gentlemen, if you would be kind enough to stand for a brief moment and accept applause from all of us for your leadership. Right in the middle, right there. Thank you, guys. On behalf of all of us that have the privilege of working alongside of you, thank you for your leadership. It's quite amazing. Have you heard of the WWE? Oh, I saw the lights flashing. Those guys, their NXT division, their first round, their first division, if you will, of talent, does matches here every 3 weeks on our campus. They've become over 6 years an incredible partner that has generated almost $300,000 in scholarships given directly and totally to students. Somewhere around 35 full-time employees at WWE has been hired, Full Sail graduates, because of their involvement here with those students while they were students. And probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 internships have happened, where every time WWE is here, our students are working alongside of their production experts, professionals, to put world-class programming out on their network. On April the 2nd of this year, WrestleMania comes to this city, in part because Full Sail is here. And because, yeah. Hundreds of Full Sail students will be working to make that event amazing. And it's already amazing because Forbes magazine, I'm going to read this, Forbes magazine listed WrestleMania in the top 5 as one of the top 5 most successful sports and or entertainment events of the year. Over 150,000 people will be involved in the week-long WrestleMania right here in Orlando, Florida. And you can bet Full Sail students and graduates are going to be right in the thick of it, making all those events and productions happen. So thank you, WWE, for being a great, great partner to our students and our grads. And we look forward to contributing everything we can to make WrestleMania wonderful with events here on our campus and with events around the city. Great doing business with you, buddies. Please welcome Full Sail Film graduate and faculty member, that's right, I said faculty member, and second assistant director, and 2013 Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Larry Katz.
Thanks, Gary. Good evening, Full Sail family. Family. Entering into the Hall of Fame, many of us didn't know each other, but we've quickly become incredible friends. And I've even supported each other's independent projects. Just this past year, I've collaborated not only with Hall of Fame members on projects, I was also honored to be able to offer key positions on the crew of a documentary called Hydrosol, that's right, to current students and recent graduates. Next up, someone I would love to collaborate with in the future. Let's meet our next inductee.
I had no other ambition. I had no other thought process of doing anything other than this is what I had to do. This is what I was put here to do. I knew that from very early on, and I thought anything that hits me at this point, well, I'm just gonna have to keep going because I don't wanna have to go back and say, well, I didn't make it. And I also thought, well, I don't wanna get to be 50 and say I didn't try. So if at least by the time I'm 50 and I'm still trying, I'm still trying. It started really early on. I was about 10 years old. My dad was a big movie buff. We watched The Exorcist for the first time. I remember watching my dad's reactions to the movie more than I watched the movie itself. That was an instant for me. His reactions to the movie were so powerful for me that I realized that's what I want to do with my life. I want to make people react like that. I want to feel like that. I want them to feel that kind of reaction. At 10, I got a camera, and I'm the oldest of 4 brothers, so we were kind of a unit. I would start shooting them, making them jump out windows, jump off our roof, which my parents were all at work while this was going on. So you can imagine when my mom came home and found mattresses in the yard and me and my brothers jumping from roofs, it was not a very good thing. I was going to the TV production in school, so I was on the news, I was handling the camera and trying to learn all that kind of stuff. But I learned very early on that TV any kind of broadcasting was not really for me. That I really loved more of the storytelling of which movies were. I didn't go into the school saying that I had to learn how to be a director. I always felt like being a director was an instinct. I never felt like that's something that I could learn. I always felt like it was something that I wanted to pursue, but I wanted to know the aspects of filmmaking. My time at Full Sail, I really tried to focus on the equipment. I need to know how the camera works, I need to know how the grips work, I need to know how the electrics work, how everybody's moving, so that way I could understand what they were doing and be able to talk their language and not look like a complete idiot on set. And that was a big thing for me. There's so much creativity in making a movie that it's not just my vision for the movie. There's so many people that come into this and have an idea or have this thought or what they think could be cool, and for me that's exciting because I love working with people. I love people in general. I like being around people. I like to talk, and so to hear people talk about my vision and expanding on my vision and to hear them get excited about that, I love that. But it was a process even to get to Full Sail, which is funny because it's sort of a process in movies, and so I had to learn really early on. Even getting into the school for me was a process, and so it sort of mirrors how my experience has been with movies. Is, you know, it's taking me time, it's taking me years, but at the end of the day, it's worked. The first time I was on set with Bruce was surreal. I went home and called my brother immediately because we were Bruce Willis diehard fans. We watched Die Hard every Christmas. That was our thing. And as you can imagine, when we were making movies as kids, that was sort of our, you know, what we looked at when we were trying to do things. And so I remember calling my brother John for the first time and just saying, dude, Bruce Willis is here, and I'm telling him what to do. And it was awesome. I mean, we both were just like, yeah, it's happening. He showed up on set the first day, and it was a huge fight sequence, and he's in this giant gun battle with everybody in the room, and he's taking out like 3 people at once. And it was just something that I was, you know, completely taken back by for the first, you know, 10 minutes before I had to get real. But there's certain days where I sit here and I think, you know, wow, this is a long way. I'm, you know, sitting on this set in general where we are and how we did this. I mean, we literally gutted this place and built this from the ground up. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, everything in here is our movie. So that's something, you know, I was never able to do. So it was always having to be in someone's house, or can we borrow that? I promise we won't break it. You know, so now it's, I get to what? Oh, I get to break that if I want it. I get to bust through that window if I want. I get to throw down that door if I want. Sure. We're just trying to keep moving up budget-wise, keep making the leap to the next level, and try to, you know, at some point make movies with, I don't know, Star Wars. I don't know. We'll see. There's got to be a Star Wars 50, right? I mean, that's me.
To induct Stephen C. Miller, please welcome from Los Angeles, California, Full Sail film graduate, film producer and production manager, Will Clevenger, and director of photography, Brandon Cox.
All right, we're gonna rock and roll this up a little bit.
This is what happens when a producer and a cinematographer get on stage.
Definitely. So we need everybody to just do a real quick chant for us. We want to go SCM on the count of 3, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. SCM! 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 SCM. All right, cool.
Yeah, there we go.
Here we go. All right. Well, I'm not much of a speaker per se, but, you know, Steven wrote me into this. So anyway, here I go. First of all, I want to thank, I really want to thank Full Sail. I want to thank Gary Jones. I want to thank Jay Noble, everybody for having me come here and speak to you guys. I didn't go to Full Sail. I went to another film school called the AFI, and I did undergraduate at Savannah College of Art and Design. So coming here, I knew about Full Sail. Coming here this week, seeing the students, seeing the faculty, meeting the inductees, talking with them. It's been an amazing experience. I got to speak to some of the students. Steven had me come sit in and just to share some experience I've had being a cinematographer, working alongside Steven, and other experiences and sharing with them. And thank you for opening your arms and letting me be here. And I've really enjoyed it. So I just wanted to say that first off. This is an amazing facility. You guys are lucky. And I'm thoroughly impressed, and I'm offering my services anytime you guys need me to come back and talk. I will come back anytime. Thank you. It's been great. Where do I start? So I did this film
in 2014. It was my first big major film with Lionsgate, and it's a film called Heist. It was originally titled Bus 657, and it starred one of my cinematic heroes, Robert De Niro, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and Dave Bautista, Gina Carano. And it was, it's a heist movie and all this, and it was really tough. It was grueling, and I came through on the other side, and I got a call right after I'd finished around the holidays, and executive producer Tim Sullivan said, "Hey, I want you to meet this guy, Stephen C. Miller. I got this project, and there's a little actor in it called, his name's Bruce Willis." And I'm thinking, oh my God, John McClane, how am I gonna do this? And he said, "I want you to meet this guy when you're back in LA. I was visiting my parents, so I go back and I go to this bar in Hollywood called The Well, and I go meet Stephen, and he walks in and he's got his tattoos and his beard, and he's got a hat. And it's an LA Dodgers hat. That's the staple of Stephen C. Miller. And we sit down, and right before we start even talking, this waitress comes over and she says, "Oh, what we have to drink?" And Stephen's like, "Oh, I have a Jack and Coke." And I'm like, "Okay." She asks me, "I'll have a cider beer." And she goes, like, what's wrong with cider beer, right? But she realized I was serious. And Stephen took note of that, and he tells the story way better than I do. And he figured, hey, man, if that guy's going to stick to his guns and drink his cider beer, then all right, cool, I can get along with this guy. And so we immediately started talking about ideas, and we shared what filmmakers we shared in passion with, and what films and what movies and whatnot. And it was all clicking. And from that moment on, when we finally got onto set, the first day, which I was glad they showed in the video, that shot of Bruce Willis, that was the first shot of the movie that we did with Bruce. And I didn't even grab the viewfinder. He said, "Hey, let's just start in a close-up. Let's just start close and they go out wide." Normally you start wide and go close, but he said, "Let's just start in a close-up." And I had all the lights lit and everything, and I grabbed the 100 mil anamorphic, and I put it right in his face. We did the shot. I look over at Steven. It's the very first shot I've ever shot with Steven. I look over at Steven, he's like, you know? And I knew from that moment on, it was gonna be a blast. And so, you know, I've done 4 movies with Steven. We're about to do our 5th. And every single one of them we did Extraction, I believe, in 17 days. And then we did Marauders with Bruce Willis again, and Chris Maloney in 16 days. And then we did another film that came out, Arsenal, which just came out, which you guys saw. I think the students got to see. We did that movie in 13 days. 13 days. And every day, every movie, we keep getting faster, but they keep taking the days away. But this time we're doing, and then the last movie we just did, First Kill, which Full Sail came, we did in 13 days again. But we keep doing this thing where we keep doing these record amount of setups. First it started, it was like 70. And then I got up to 90, and then I got up to 127. We've gotten up to 141 setups in a day. That's insane. If any of you guys know about filmmaking, that's insane. So I'm gonna keep pushing faster for you, buddy. Let's go for 150 on Escape Plan 2. Why not, right? So after all that being said, I just wanna say one thing. You know, there's great collaborations between directors and cinematographers. And a lot of them are, you know, ones I admire. And, you know, you've got Inarritu with Lubeski, you've got Clint Eastwood with Tom Stern, you've got Chris Nolan with Wally Pfister, and you got Steven Spielberg with Janusz Kaminski, and then you got Stephen C. Miller and Brandon Cox, and I want to keep it that way. So before I let Will talk, I just want to say one thing. Not only is Steven, you know, a director, my cinematic brother, a father who's a great father to those kids, Brielle and Elliot, and he's got a great, strong support with Vanessa and his family, and who have invited me into their family. And, you know, he's got, you know, great brothers and sisters. They all got the beard. All the Miller boys got the beard. And I think Elliot's is coming in really soon. He's a great father, but most of all, he's a hell of a friend. And I'm glad to call him my friend. And, you know, thanks for being here, man. And thanks for having me here. And I love you, dude. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Hello, Stephen Miller. So I promised Jay Noble before I came out here. He called me when I was in LA. And he's like, hey, Will, so you and Brandon are both going to do this. You got to keep the speech to 2 minutes. And then I came out here this week, and I've experienced Hall of Fame week, so this might be just a little bit longer. And Jay, I'm sorry for that. Please do not flash the flashlight bat signal at me. I've never really been a big speech guy because I tend to ramble and talk endlessly at times. Stephen knows this. So when in these situations, I tend to write things down, just read them. And that's what I'm going to do here tonight. But before doing so, I just want to say that this is my first time being part of the Full Sail Hall of Fame experience in this week. And it's reminded me so much of why we follow the dreams that we all have and why each of us in every field that we're in do what we do. How every single word that we tell students can impact their lives in such a way that we can't even realize at the time. Having graduated in 2004 with Stephen, and getting the honor to be back here and interact and experience this entire week with him and Brandon has been some of the most awe-inspiring and amazing energy that I've ever felt in one place. I've got to know and spend time with so many of the Full Sail Hall of Fame members, alumni, faculty, and students, and I'm totally hooked on what we all feel during this week. The Full Sail Hall of Fame really is truly a special place. If anything, one day is going to prepare Stephen for an Oscar. I truly believe it's this night. I mean, how awesome is this? Yeah? You don't really want to use the word destiny, but in some situations, I really feel that it truly applies. Ever since I've known Stephen, I've truly felt there was this timeline path that he was on. No matter what happened, whether he was sleeping in his car like he talks about to students, no matter what it was, he was going to achieve his dreams. I could talk for hours, tell stories of the last 13 years, knowing and working with one of my best friends, the hopes, the dreams that I've gotten the privilege of watching him accomplish, the amazing children, the amazing wife that he has, the amazing family. It's an amazing feeling when you get to chase your dreams together. It's even more special when those dreams turn into your everyday life. We started that when we made automaton transfusion, and it's continued throughout the entire time. I'll go back to the word destiny because Stephen was not supposed to be in my class. He actually started Full Sail a year before me and had to take time off. When he came back and joined my group, it's a funny story. I'll never forget walking into screenwriting on the first day. I go and I sat behind this guy with these sleeve tattoos. He had a really bad emo haircut back then. My hair was not long, it was short. My mom still wishes I would cut it. And basically, sitting there, he's got this full script on his desk, and this is on the very first day. For those of you that don't know, back then when screenwriting existed, you were not supposed to have a full script on day one. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? But that's always been Stephen. Little did I know, sitting behind that guy was going to lead to the next decade of our lives. We were complete opposites in personalities, but we gravitated towards each other, and we understood one another's drive. It's the reason, like Brandon says, that he pulls off 160 camera setups and completes films with major stars in as little as 13 days. He's been like this since before he was directing. I mean, can you imagine what the guy's gonna do if someone actually gives him 40 days to shoot a movie? It's why he can be so calm and almost quiet when he's in pitch meetings and just precisely take over a room. I watch students on these panels that Brandon and I were fortunate enough to sit in on this week, and they were just literally engaged by his every word. I've never known anyone in my life more driven, talented, humble, family-oriented, and loyal than Stephen. It's a testament to him and his amazing parents that are both here tonight. It's that loyalty that has equaled the same representation team behind him literally his entire career. Literally the same people that signed him after automaton transfusion represent him today. It's a group that I've had the privilege of being part of. Sometimes I've spent the better part of the last decade feeling like one of his pseudo-managers. Stephen's actual manager, Adam Goldworm, and I are literally two of his biggest fans. I would get on Adam after Stephen would make some of these indie films for no money and be like, when in the hell is he gonna get a bigger movie, Adam? And Adam would say, oh, it's gonna come, it's gonna come. I would say this all the time to him. And then eventually he made that dream a reality. He was always gonna make his dreams come true. To think he's about to go and direct one of his childhood idols, Sylvester Stallone, it's such a surreal feeling. But one thing that's going to happen on that is he's not really going to be able to wear those Rocky t-shirts on set. That's not a good idea. Don't do that. But there's no way in the world that if it weren't for the constant support, loyalty, and encouragement of him in my own producing career over the last 13 years since we graduated from Full Sail, that I would be where I am today. Steven introduced me to another Full Sail Hall of Famer, our friend Darren Lynn Bousman, and I'm proud to say that I've produced films for Full Sail's 2 current Hall of Fame directors. None of that would have been possible without you, Steve. This is the part where I'm not gonna cry. You're someone that means the world to me. You're more than my best friend, you're my brother. I love you, man. And now, Full Sail and Steven,
we have a little
before
special.
we invite you up here to come and get, this prestigious honor, we want to kick it to something on the screens here and behind us.
We have a little special something here. There you go.
Wow. Hall of Fame stuff. That's huge. Well deserved by Steven Miller. Well deserved. I'm very honored to have been in 2 movies directed by Mr. Miller. He's a world-class director, and I'm very happy that you guys recognize it as well. So, all right.
Hello, everybody at Full Sail University. I can't think of a better recipient of the Hall of Fame than Steven C. Miller. My name is Jonathan Scheck. I'm an actor. I've been in this film industry for about 25 years now. I've worked with directors such as Franco Zeffirelli from Romeo and Juliet and Hamlet, to Tom Hanks in That Thing You Do. It was his writing and directing initiation, and I got to work with him on that. But there's nothing I've done that compares to what I've done with Steven. We both have young children, and having a child and putting yourself on the line is a whole new experience, something that Steven can attest to, that we really had to make something very important. And 2 films that I got to work with Steven on that he directed me in are called, one is called Arsenal and one is called Marauders. If you haven't seen them, you should see them for certain. There's 2 things an actor really needs to make a great performance, and that is safety in the environment and communication with the director. Me and Steven worked on our characters, on my character, prior to filming on Marauders. I would text him, call him. We designed this whole thing prior to getting there, and then when I got there, the environment, he let me go, take risks, put myself on the line. I felt very safe being under his control, under his direction, and twofold when I did Arsenal. Some of the work that I got to do in Arsenal is just complete risk-taking, just going far out on a limb. And when you work with the likes of Nicolas Cage and Bruce Willis, you really need somebody to make sure that the sides are equal and allow you to do certain things that many people don't have the courage to do. Steven does. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate him. I can't wait to work with him again. And congratulations on the induction into the Hall of Fame. You people are very lucky to have him there.
Steven C. Miller, Hall of Famer. It's got a nice ring to it. Congratulations. It was an honor and a pleasure working with you and for you on Marauders. I wish you the best of luck, and it's a very deserving honor. Congratulations. Peace.
Hey guys, Dave Bautista here, also known as Drax the Destroyer, here on the set of The Avengers. But I wanted to take this minute to congratulate my friend Steven Miller on his induction into the Full Sail Hall of Fame. Couldn't happen to a nicer, more talented guy. I'm proud to call you a friend. It was an honor being directed by you. I'm sure we will have many more opportunities in the future to work together, and this is only the beginning for you, bro. So congratulations. Take care. Peace.
Hey, Steven. It's Nicolas Cage, and I just want to wish you a very, very hearty congratulations on your induction into the Full Sail Hall of Fame. This is huge. Having worked with you on Arsenal and having had lunch with you and spoken with you and sharing ideas with you about filmmaking and cinema, I just want you to know that I think you've invented not only a new kind of film, but also a new style, a new process of filmmaking. And if anyone deserves this honor, it surely is you.
That took 3 weeks to do.
So
here we go.
We are absolutely honored and privileged in
saying,
saying, will you please join us in inducting our brother, Stephen C. Miller, into the 8th annual Full Sail Hall of Fame. Woo! Woo!
This is insane. This is unreal to me right now. I don't even know where to start, to be honest, because this is so amazing. I had two of my best friends in the world come up here and introduce me, and I'm completely humbled right now. And I have to start by thanking the woman who inspires me every day. We have two kids, and she allows me to travel around the world to make movies. And without, my baby girl over there, I couldn't do it. So I just want to thank you, Vanessa, for meeting me in a small box in Hollywood where I lived and not running away. And staying with me for the past 7 years through this crazy adventure that we've done. And she's given me two beautiful babies, like you've heard. Elliot, who doesn't have a beard yet, yeah, but he will. And our beautiful daughter, Brielle. They're just amazing kids. They're also very crazy, so they're not here right now. But they are back at the hotel watching it, and I just want to tell them that I love them. And Daddy does this every day because I want them to have something to enjoy. I want them to have something to love to watch. And I can't wait for them to say they're going to see Daddy's movie, Jack. I can't wait for that. I also want to thank Full Sail and Gary Jones and Jay Noble, who's amazing. And I have to specifically thank Dave Franco. Where's Dave Franco? So you hear all of us say we wouldn't be here without Full Sail, which is very true. But I really would not be here without Full Sail, and specifically Dave Franco. I was in Hollywood with my friend Will Clevenger, and I was sleeping on his floor at the time. And I had just graduated film school. I'd been out for 2 months. And I called Dave Franco with Will, and I said, I want to come back to Full Sail, and I want to make a movie. And Dave said, okay, whatever, which was nice. He said, come meet me in the office. This will be cool. We'll talk about it. And I think he didn't even ask us what the project was. He didn't even ask us what we were doing. He just said, sure, if you want to come back, we'll talk about it, as if he probably heard it 1,000 times. And I remember we were there 2 days later. We literally were on a plane, and we came, and I sat in Dave's office with Will. And we told him, well, I basically told him, I need everything you have. I need all your students. I'm going to go make a movie. And Dave didn't hesitate. He just said, okay. What do you need? But he did say you have like 9-day period where you have to do it because it was like July 4th weekend or something. And so me and Will set off on a venture to make our very first movie here at Full Sail. And I'm not joking when I say that 99.9% of our entire crew was Full Sail students. We made that movie in 9 days, the 9 days you gave us, which was nice. And then me and Will set on a venture to get the movie bought. And like many of you have probably heard my story, I slept in my car for around 2 years trying to sell that movie before I finally sold it to the Weinstein Company. And selling that movie was one of the most amazing things in the world. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if Dave Franco had not said yes. So I just want to say thank you, Dave Franco, and Full Sail, because this school means a lot to me. I would not be here without this school. And so I want to thank my parents who are here and who actually show up at every movie, which is awesome. But I want to thank them specifically, my mom, who was never afraid to throw me into the arts as a kid. She's a beautiful piano player and always had me in various artistic classes, including singing, which I was never, ever good at. But she put me in them anyway. You know, Mom will tell you it's really good, even though it's not. And then I want to thank my dad, because without my dad, I also wouldn't have left Florida to go out to Hollywood. I remember calling my dad and telling him that I wanted to go to California. And my dad gave me a couple $100 and said, good luck. And we've always had that sort of thing where, you know, he doesn't have to say a lot to me and I can kind of get what he's doing. And that's just something I love about my dad. And, you know, and I also want to thank my brothers who are actually sitting right out here, because without them, I also never would have, you know, had anybody to shoot whenever I was in high school and middle school and grade school. We had cameras running all the time, and like I said, we were jumping off roofs. I think we even had a fight scene on the roof at one point, and kids rolling off our roofs. And I'm not sure my parents knew that I was actually using their mattress, though, when they were falling off of the roof. So, you know, those nights when they were slightly itchy, that's probably my fault. But they definitely, my brothers definitely were key to my success, because they were the guys that I always felt like I could count on, that I could always come to if I had issues or problems, and those guys kept me in check. And I do have one sister, and she's out there, and she had to deal with all of us boys. And you know, what do you say about a girl that constantly getting teased by her brothers and trying to get her to come and hang out with us? But you know, my sister's always been someone that's inspired me as well. She's a beautiful woman, a beautiful mother, and she's really inspired me to do that myself, which is why I have such a lovely family. And so I want to say thank you, Amber, for that. And you know, there's a lot of things that go into movies. There's a lot of things that you have to do to prepare to make movies. And one of the things that I try to do on a daily basis is have fun. I try to get to set, and usually I'm the first one to set. I know that's rare for a director. But I'm usually the first one to set, and I'm always the last one to leave. And I usually am the last one high-fiving everyone to tell them goodbye and thank you. And that's because I really do love this art. I really do love making movies. I love being a part of a film set. I think it's a family, it's a community. And this is also my first time at a Hall of Fame, and I love that I get that same feeling here. I love that I can walk out here and talk to any one of these Hall of Famers who are, you know, insanely amazing. I mean, I'm humbled to be in the presence of all of these guys. And to be able to sit here and talk to them and learn from them, you know, I feel like a student this week, because I got to hear some of these guys talk about some of the most amazing things that still inspire me, this week. And so for me, I'm very grateful to all of you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to come this week and being so open-armed and loving me with all the hugs that you get. And I love all of that. And I just want you guys to know that you guys mean the world to me. This week was awesome to me. And then I wanted to just say to all of the Full Sail students out there who go to classes every day, all types of times of the day, and you're grinding, and I know you're grinding. I sat where you sat, with looking at the hundreds of kids around you and the thousands of kids in this campus thinking, how the hell is that gonna be me? How can I get, how can I make a difference? How can I do something that's gonna, get out there? And I just wanna say that every single one of you are unique. Every single one of you have a voice. Every single one of you have a vision, and I'm extremely excited to see that because I think this school produces visionaries. I think this school produces artists that change the world. And I'm completely honored to be in the presence of everyone here that's going to do that and that's already done that. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much. I appreciate this. Thank you.
Please welcome Full Sail Computer Animation graduate and 2012 Hall of Fame inductee Chance Glasgow and Full Sail Game Development graduate and 2011 Hall of Fame inductee Jameson Dural.
What is up, everybody? So earlier, Larry Katz talked about how the Hall of Famers love to support each other's projects. But sometimes we come together to collaborate on entirely new endeavors.
And in our case, Jameson Dural is the very first team member in a brand new company that myself and the next inductee have created, Doghead Simulations. Let's meet our next inductee.
Games, what they do is they bring people together, right? Either when you're playing with your siblings when you were young, even if you hot swap controllers, or you hate your brother, you hate your sister for not letting you play, it's still a bonding moment. I know so many people who have fond memories of games, and most of them are actually because they played with someone else. In the Philippines, I did play a lot of multiplayer games like Counter-Strike or StarCraft, but they're all on the local area networks and internet cafes. But when I moved to the United States, the internet was a lot better, and there's a lot of players with computers at home. So in the US, I started playing a lot of online games, connected games, and connecting with people who weren't in my neighborhood and all across the US. For me, game design and making games was like the only thing I could really pursue with a passion. I thought about it. Should I be a doctor? No, I don't like blood. Should I be an engineer? I don't like to be too precise. And I knew I was creative, and I knew from my research that making games required you to be creative and technical at the same time. So that was something like, I could do that. So I started sending out my resume 8 months before graduation. 2 weeks before graduation, I got a call like, hey, we have a contract at Microsoft. Would you want to come? And I said, yeah, I want to interview. So I flew out, got an offer the same day. I went and got an apartment that day, flew back, literally 30 minutes before graduation, drove straight to graduation, got my diploma, I'm gonna head out now, and went back to my apartment and started packing. And within 2 or 3 days, I was out back in Seattle working. I was in and out of Microsoft for a few contracts, and then worked for XNA, which is basically what started the indie game revolution, making it so that creating games became easier because you had all the frameworks set up for you. The opportunity came when Windows Phone launched, and I said, you know what? No one knows how to make games for Windows Phone. I know how to do it, and I'm gonna own this market, which I pretty much did for the first year. I pumped out 24 games. I made more than $130,000 in a year just making games that I liked. And for me, that was like, wow, that was awesome. Working on the HTC Vive, I knew that feeling that I was working on something very special. is in the early days when we gave demos. And these kits we were using were kind of like, they're very alpha, very prototypey. Every time we gave it to someone, they put on the headset, oh, I'm in VR, oh, I can walk around, oh, that's cool. But when we give them the controllers and they touch it, oh my God, suddenly they just became a little kid. They're just like, oh my God, this is so fun. And they'll be there for like 15 minutes. And it was like the simplest demo, and they were so amazed and happy. So for me, seeing those moments over and over and over again, very consistently, like 100%, we've had every single skeptic turn into a believer. It's like, this technology is real, this is gonna change the world. VR is awesome by itself, but it is magical with other people interacting with you and experiencing it with you. And for me, that's really what drives creating Roomy and Doghead Simulations, is giving the people who are naturally social beings, giving that power to interact in new ways that we haven't even understood or invented yet. And that's really something that drives my passion right now. Even though I know that making a network game or a social game is like, 100 times harder because you have so many things you have to account for versus a single player game. But that challenge is worth it because what you get out of it is like magic. So now that I've said that I work on a world-changing technology, I want to continue that. I want to actually change the world, change how people communicate with each other, how people relate to each other, and how people, in the most basic sense, react to the world, and how do they touch things, how do they interact with things. And it's an overarching thing. And VR is just one part of it, right? There's going to be other technologies that come on that I would want to use and play with to change the world. And I have a long path ahead of me, and I'm nowhere near done. I haven't even begun yet.
To induct Albert Perez, welcome to the stage, one of the co-founders of Doghead Simulations, Matt Chacon.
Alrighty. Hey, everybody. All right. What? All right. Come on. 1 billion people in the world smoke. I mean, come on. But did you know that there are over 1.2 billion people in the world that play video games? That's awesome. That's crazy. That actually means that video games are more popular and actually more addictive than nicotine. I mean, what the hell? That's crazy. That is profoundly world-changing. And the people that make those video games, people just like you, spend years studying for degrees in video game design and development, and then after graduation, literally work day and night to perfect their craft. People just like my very good friend, Albert Perez. When I first met Albert, I guess a little over 10 years ago, I took one look at him and I was like, geez, what a nerd. This dude looks and acts just like a game developer. So anyway, he was interviewing for a job, and so we went through the interview, and after the interview, I thought, geez, what a nerd. Like, this guy acts and looks just like a game developer. So I hired him on the spot. I'm very glad I did. Because Albert proved to me very quickly something important. The students that are produced by Full Sail University are quite literally second to none. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, it's true. Full Sail students are quite literally, well, maybe not literally, but Full Sail students are the Navy SEALs of nerds. And Albert is your team leader. Albert is definitely the most talented, humble,
intelligent, and kind human being that I have ever had the very good fortune to meet in my life. After meeting Albert, we became very fast friends, and we've remained so ever since. So Albert's designed and developed very innovative game properties for Xbox, Windows Phone, Smart Glass. He was an independent game developer, and he's got over 20 published titles. In fact, Albert's games have been downloaded way over 2.5 million times. That's awesome. That's great. His careers have taken him from his studies here at Full Sail University to developing some of the world's most popular game titles to today, where he's quite literally building the very next generation of innovative properties and technologies in virtual reality. Along the way, Albert and I have gone from being colleagues to the very best of friends to business partners. And Albert, as you know, I don't have any family left. No, my parents, no, my siblings. It's just me. I'm the only one left. And because of that, Albert, you've definitely become more than just a colleague or a business partner to me. And you're more than a friend. Albert, you are my brother, and I love you. So, thank you for taking up gaming and not smoking. So, gaming is definitely your nicotine buddy. It is my sincere privilege and honor to induct Albert Samante Perez into the Full Sail University Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Wow. This is quite surreal. First of all, thank you, Matt, for such a great induction speech for me. Introduction speech. One piece of advice I got before going up here is to just take it all in. So give me a few seconds. I'll take it all in. And first of all, I want to thank my wife, my beautiful wife, Shanae. She's been with me for the longest time, almost 9 years this year. And, she's been a great partner for me. I've literally been traveling around the world, the last year, and she's put up a lot of me not being home, And really, she has been the rock of my life, and I can't have a better partner than her. So thank you, Shanae. I want to thank my parents, my mom Esmeralda and my dad Bing, and I would like to thank my brother as well. And I have a little story in how I ended up in Full Sail. So when I was, I was born in the Bay Area, but I grew up in the Philippines. So I'm a, citizen, and there's a lot of, growing up in the Philippines, I've always been called the American boy, because oh, you're a citizen. When are you gonna go back there? But I love the Philippines. I grew up there. I love the culture and all stuff. And when after graduating high school, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I mean, I know I love video games. I know I love programming. But I wanted to take the safe path. I wanted to be a business major for this big university at home that accepted me. And my dad and my mom, they said, "Are you sure you want to do that? That seems like the safe path. It's you have all this opportunity in America. You should do it." And I thought about it. And one time I was eating in a restaurant somewhere going to the province, and for some reason I said, oh, you know what? I should go to the United States in front of my mom and my dad. And both of them latched onto it and said, Albert, we're shipping you out of the United States. You're not staying here in the Philippines. Get out of here. I'm like, what? You're kicking me out? I'm like, all right, fine. But I told them, I'm going to do it on my terms. I'm going to do it, I'm going to research the universities. I'm going to do it, effectively. I want to be, this is my life. I'm going to do it. So I researched it, and I found Full Sail University. And during that time, there's only really 2 universities that did game design and development, and Full Sail was one of them. And what really sold me on Full Sail was the fact that it was a 2-year degree. It was very fast, and it got me to where I need in a very short amount of time. So I did it. I went here to Florida. My brother Sam looked up the school and said, yeah, it's a legit school. It's there. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll go. So, sight unseen, I went to Full Sail. I'm like, oh, wow, this school is so cool. And I'm just this, I grew up in the Philippines, and culturally everything's incompatible. But, whatever. I made so many friends here, went through school. And one thing I want to thank is Rob Cato, who's sitting right in front here. He has been a great visionary in this school. When I was going through school, he was very scary. If he walked into the classroom, I'm like, oh shit, someone's gonna get in trouble. And it was true. Someone actually did get in trouble, or I want to talk about details of what happened, but there was a lot of that. But as I graduated, I got to know Rob. He was a visionary. So people say, oh, Albert, you work on VR. That's awesome. That's cool. But I'm like, Rob Cato has been trying to push VR since the 90s. He's an expert on that. And that is such a humbling experience because, I went through school with the mentor, one of the great VR pioneers. And for that, thank you very much, Rob. He's an asset to the school, and if you see him, hug him. He doesn't like that, but do hug him. Anyway, so I do want to talk about one thing to close, is the passion. I know you guys are here, you students are here because you're passionate about your degrees, and that is something we don't have to ask you why are you here. You are here for a reason. But what I want to do is to help guide you into figuring out how to, channel that passion. And for me, knowing that passion is not enough. You have your passion here, but you need to find out what truly is your passion. You might say games, film, animation. But what you should really do is to find what you truly love and ask yourself every day, is this what I'm doing, what I love? And the reason I say that because, we all march the same tune of time, right? We all have finite lives, we might be rich, we might be poor, we might be a female, male, or, but we all have limited time on this earth because we are biological creatures by nature. And, I want you to know that you need to spend your time you need to treat it as the most precious resource. Because you can never get back time once you spend it. So find what you truly love and pursue it. Don't let the naysayers tell you no. And most importantly, find that passion with the people you trust. Like everyone before me has said, you cannot really be where you are without the people around you, from your parents to your loved ones, to your dogs, to your friends, and all that stuff. And really, we are social creatures, and I really want you guys to look around you and really cherish the people around you because, they are, great people. And for example, before I close, I want to shout out to all my Full Sail family who are here right now. So we got, Justin Gallo, who was my lab instructor, who's helping us out with Doghead. We got Will Fitzgerald, Amanda Sweden, who's also been my friends forever. We got, Carrie, Mark Diaz, new people who's, kind of coming into the family, and, Grant Shankwiler, and all these people, and Rusty. I want to forget Rusty, Jameson, Chance, and all of the friends here, like everyone here. I can't name all of you, but you've made me who I am, and without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So I want to dedicate the Saily to you guys because, I wouldn't be here without you. So thank you very much.
To honor our second industry icon honoree this evening, please welcome Charity Lomax, Recording Arts grad and 2014 Hall of Fame inductee.
Hello, everybody. Happy Hall of Fame. It's such an honor to be here. Love coming back. When I came here in 1993, my path was recording and more specifically sound reinforcement. But the one class that I was so looking forward to was music business. And we were so fortunate to have Al Schlesinger on campus, this man with this amazing roster of clients. And it was amazing because we would all pile, it was only 700 students at the time, so we'd all pile in everybody's car, drive down to Universal, sit on the sound stage, and for me personally, hang on his every word, his stories, and all of the knowledge that he was giving us. So at one point, I had the privilege of being able to have breakfast with him with a few other students. And what struck me was this man who is so incredibly busy, so, the top of his game in his industry, is taking the time to sit here and have breakfast with me. Is taking his time to come and teach us and share his knowledge so generously. And it inspired me to do that as well. And that's why we come back. That's why I come back. And that's what makes him so special. So tonight he gets the Industry Icon Award, and it's my pleasure to present it to him in lieu of him being here.
In 1948, when I came out here, I went to look for a job in the music industry, and I got a job in a two-person company, and I bought the one person out, and I remained head of a record company and a publishing company until I went to law school. I had a big rhythm and blues hit, and the writer was a young man from Texas, and signed contracts and everything of that kind. After the song became a huge hit, it reached #1 on the hit parade, which was quite exciting. He advised me that he wasn't 21. And I said, do you have a Bible? No. I said, any school records? He never went to school. And so I was out of luck. He just said, I'm terminating the contract. So I lost the song, and I said, I admire the attorneys, and I'm interested in music, and I just lost a valuable copyright I'm going to go to law school.
He was recommended as the best and most honest attorney in Hollywood. So I said, that's for me. And he's been my attorney all these years. I always felt that Al was my rock. And I know that he had my welfare, my well-being, first in his mind. And that's, why we hung in there.
I've been practicing law for 57 years, and I just loved it. I couldn't wait to get into the office every morning because I enjoyed it so much. Mainly, my clients were so enjoyable as people.
In many instances, attorneys get sort of a bad rap. They're not the highest on the chain of those that people in our industry anyway rave about, but I've never heard a harsh word said about him. He is not only a wonderful lawyer, but more importantly, he's a wonderful humanitarian. And I believe that Al does most of his work for his clients to benefit them, and money is the byproduct for him.
I became connected with Full Sail because the owner of the school, he said, would you come down to my school and lecture? I said, sure. He said, one thing I have to tell you, we don't have a budget to put you up overnight. That's how we met. Very few places did what Full Sail did. And I felt it was highly motivated and that the education was really good, that they hired very good people, they had a good student body, and the students enjoyed the learning. And so I came down to teach about 6 subjects on the music business, about half a dozen times a year. And I've been doing that ever since.
The Industry Icon Award was presented to Al via video on Tuesday night. Let's see some of the takeaways from that evening.
Well, it's very emotional for me. I want to thank Gary Jones and Jay Noble, who've helped put this together. And but it's a great honor, and I'm really very delighted to get it. It's very meaningful to me.
On that evening, I'll just tell you one thing that was said. There were many wonderful things said about Al from our faculty and our staff members and those of us who love him. The one thing that I'd like to recount is over the years, the decades since Al taught that first class, he took every call from every graduate and offered his legal services at no cost to them while they were starting up their companies, starting up their careers, becoming songwriters, and doing all the things that we crazy creatives do in this world. And I know from personal accounts from many, many a student that he either made fortunes for them or saved fortunes for them through his wise counsel and legal advice. And from all of us, Al Schlesinger, out there in Los Angeles, California, thank you for all you gave, all that you gave to Full Sail students and graduates.
Please welcome to the stage Full Sail Recording Arts graduate and 2012 Hall of Fame inductee, Susan Rose.
Peace and love, everyone. It is so good to be back here amongst all of you wonderful people here at Hall of Fame. Well, I have toured all over the world, and people often ask me, how in the world did I become the lighting director for the legendary Beatle, Mr. Ringo Starr? With that being said, I certainly didn't start there. It took long years of proving myself and truly focusing to land that dream gig. While it's unique to me, the investment and the journey is the same for every Hall of Famer, including our final inductee.
Initially, I wanted to tour with bands. I wanted to go around the world and put stage shows together. And when you're a 20-year-old from the country, you grew up basically in farms in a town without a traffic light, how do you end up on tour? How do you do that? How do you find the people that can connect you? How do you find even some common something to even get a foot in the door? And I truly didn't know how I was gonna do it, but I knew that I was gonna do it. So I was trying to figure out where I can go, and I came across Full Sail. And the second I walked through the doors, I knew that's where I had to go. I really feel like that was where, for the first time in my life, when I was at Full Sail, I really truly experienced how hard that I'm gonna have to work to achieve the goals that I wanna achieve. So I just graduated school and started to send my portfolio out to really pretty much every single event, production, and lighting production company on the East Coast. I picked the top firms and the top production companies and really thoughtfully crafted either a presentation or some sort of package that I would send them. Every single one of them called me. And I said, I have to go meet with these people. So I packed up my car and I literally left my parents' house and I said, here I go. Like, I don't know where I'm gonna end up, if I'm gonna be, what city, what company, but I'm gonna end up at one of these companies. My last interview was in Boston. I walked in and I knew that was where I was gonna work. 2 weeks later, I'm designing the 150th anniversary for MIT. It was an incredible experience, but it wasn't what I wanted to be doing. I wanted to be on the road and I wanted to experience touring. I wanted to feel what it felt like to be a part of putting together a show for a massive audience. And I came across someone and we hit it off and he said, someday you're gonna come work for me. And I said, okay, dude, I have this great job in Boston. I'm a lighting designer. I'm doing all these great projects, but we stayed in touch. And 6 months later, I get a phone call and he says, hey, I have an opportunity and I need someone to lead this project. I need someone to take this custom produced special effect for this world-renowned artist on the road and make this happen. And I said, it's a yes. And 2 weeks later, I'm in Mexico City with Roger Waters' Dark Side of the Moon tour as the special effects designer for the custom Dark Side of the Moon sculpture. And I'm like, this is my job. I am on the design team of the Dark Side of the Moon World Tour. And then I had the opportunity to go from Roger Waters to Madonna to work with various other masterminds of production, creativity, and music and art. And you just, again, I go back to thinking about this kid that grew up in the woods, who's me, and I'm sitting with Madonna on the steps of the stage in New York City, preparing to take her show for a 2-year world tour. It's not luck. It literally just comes down to you have to decide what you want, you have to go get it. And I think that's the difference of Lux Creative. We're attracting people with that sort of work ethic and that passion for the projects. And I think that's who we are. And I love it. That's what I live for.
To induct Martin Potozny, please welcome studio manager and lead designer at Lux Creative in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Shahira Waba.
Hi. Whoa. It is an absolute honor to be here tonight to celebrate the incredible career of my brilliant boss and best friend, Martin Potozny. When I first started working for Martin, I was organizing the studio one day, and I came across this picture. I hope you can see it. It's a child's drawing of a stage. There are truss towers, there are moving lights, there are hazers and fog machines, and it's actually quite similar to this. So I asked Martin, who drew this for you, assuming it was maybe like a niece or a nephew, and Martin laughed and said, I drew this when I was 6 years old. That's Martin. I was absolutely floored by that. 6-year-old Martin knew that he wanted to be a lighting designer. What 6-year-old knows what truss towers look like? To say that Martin was born to do this is just a gross understatement. It's who he is. It's his heart, it's his soul, it's his blood, it's his passion. This production, this is Martin. His passion, his relentless drive to create, his creativity is what's been pushing him since he was 6 years old. But what I love the most about Martin is something that a lot of people don't see. It's his remarkable courage. He left, as you guys saw, an incredibly successful career touring with Madonna and Roger Waters and Korn to go out on his own, move back to Pittsburgh, and start Lux Creative with absolutely nothing but a vision and the drive to work 20-hour days, 7 days a week, basically for all of time. He's created one of the most dynamic creative firms in the country. And while the work that we do is so amazing, and it's something that I am so deeply humbled to be a part of, what is so much more incredible to me is the home that he's made for all of us. Lux is home. It's a world that it's a world he's built for all the misfits artists like me that didn't fit in anywhere else. It's a family. It's the happiest place on earth. It's better than Disney. Martin, you are the absolute best person I've ever met. Your passion, creativity, kindness, and generosity inspires and amazes me every single day. I am so in awe of all that you've done, and I am so deeply excited for all that's to come. I love you. Thank you for being my everything. Thank you for building a world where we laugh so hard it physically hurts, where we can send frankly emails all the time, where we can dream and build and create and be ourselves. Thank you for being Martin. It is my deepest honor to induct Martin Potozny into the Full Sail University Hall of Fame.
Hello? Hello?
Wow. Yeah, this is a lot to take in. Well, first off, I just want to thank Full Sail and all the wonderful people here who have been with me through the years. I mean, for 13 years, I've had friends and family who have supported me. Sorry, I was trying to take all this in. It's been a long journey. There's been a lot of ups and downs. There's been some incredible times, and there's going to be a lot more incredible times, and I'm looking forward to them. I just want to thank Gary and then his team that runs this place. I mean, what would our world be without Full Sail? I think of all the kids that have gone through here and all of the faculty and staff, and I spent this week sitting in panels with the most incredible people. I thought that I had already met some of the most incredible people in the world when I was out on the road and when I was working on projects, but each time I come back here, I find many more of them. But I have to take some time to thank my family, my mom, Pam. She's the most supportive, loving mom I could ever ask for. My dad, when I was a kid, instead of putting themselves first or, certain things first, they took sacrifices to put me and my brothers in a school that we couldn't afford so that we could be exposed to a better education, better arts programs, and for those sacrifices, I can never thank them enough. To my brothers who have been there for some of the most, for one of the most important moments in my life, and to stand there side by side and help me get through it. To my grandfather, who is not here today, but he's, just to kind of give you a picture of who he is, he was climbing a tree with a chainsaw a few years ago, had a heart attack and fell down. And he was 85 years old. And then he went to have open heart surgery. And then the doctor said that he healed faster than anyone they had ever seen. And he was like, all right, let's go. Let's get out of the hospital. To my Aunt Sissy, who has supported me, to all my friends and family, Josh, Sean, to my team at Lux Creative, Shahira, words don't even describe how important you are to me. She's been with me through some of the most intense situations at work, at the studio, working with clients. She's the only person I know that can be completely covered in dirt, sweat, bleeding, and walk out of the area, come back in black leather pants and heels, and we change and I put on a tuxedo and we can go run a wedding or a corporate event with a smile on our face like nothing ever happened, like we've been setting up for 20 hours a day for 7 days. But I'm incredibly honored and humbled to be up here right now. The 5 guys that went up before me, I am to be in the list of these Hall of Famers is just, it's a lot to take in. So I congratulate you all. I'm typically back at the controls during something like this. I'm not, this isn't my thing, but I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank the school. I want to thank my family and all my friends. And this is for the students that are here now. This is for the dreamers who have a vision and they know where they want to go. Don't ever let anyone tell you no. When something, just do it. I grew up in a trailer in the country, and then I was on a private jet with Madonna. You can do anything you want. You just have to do it. It's the truth. You have to make up your mind and make it happen. So this is for you. I love you guys. Thank you for everything.
Last order, check. You guys check. Nice job, DJ Jeffrey. Nice. Hey, buddies, one last article of business. We were sweating up there. It was so hot on stage. Is it hot out here? No. Last order of business, we are going to reveal the 6 new panels for these 6 incredible human beings that are the latest Hall of Fame inductees. We need the audience and your wristbands to help us count this down. So have your wristbands high and proud, and we're going to count down from 10, starting over here with Jay. Starting with 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.